Immortal Regis and Cavalier of the Abyss. But you've never heard of these comics. That's because they're Korean. Not a lot of people read Korean comics. So start off with it's really, I think, an underrated comic. So you have this character Jae Yuk. I think his name is the character on screen right now. He is the main character of Immortal Regis. He is a normal kid in school who has to pretty much take care of his younger brother, and because his younger brother has a terminal illness, he has to spend all his time outside of school making money, and he's really good at it for his age. Um, the problem is on his way home one day, he is attacked. He's pretty much attacked in the middle of a fight between a monster and this otherworldly woman named Siren, who is from the Demon Clan. He ends up dead in the crossfire, and and she feels bad about it, so she brings him back to life as an undead. In the process, she pretty much breaks like the laws of her clan in doing so, but she does because she feels really guilty. Um, and when she when she is forces Jayuk to leave the human world to go to like this parallel dimension for pretty much like the underworld, but they're not really dead. They're just like it's a lot of magic. Saren, this girl on the right, she forces him to leave his brother Jaeyoon behind, and he ends up going to a high school, the same high school, and people are afraid because the last time an undead human was in this world, he became like a dictator of sorts, and so he's kind of no one really wants to be around him, and he also it's because he can't use magic until he finds out he can use this thing called negative magic. I'm not gonna get into what that is, but it's really cool. And pretty much Immortal Regis towards the end he gets that sword he has there and the sword he has there. And he pretty much named a pour. It's like this spirit, this female spirit that is like manifesting a sword. It's pretty cool. Now, the thing that really breaks the mold, like kind of breaks the cliche, is its sequel, Cavalier of the Abyss. This series takes place about 20 years later, while in Immortal Regis he's 16. He's about 40. He's close to 40 in the sequel. And instead of being a main character, he's almost an antagonist slash anti-hero, because he's something happened in his timeline where that has to do with the end of the original series as well as some untold events that causes him to hate Siren and pretty much um, become like a dictator, like people were afraid. He ends up having two kids named Maya and Maya, his daughter, and his older son, his eldest child, Ninarut, I think his name is. And he ends up being suspicious about Ninarut, when this guy Zix, I think it's hard to pronounce. It's Xix, and it's thought that he's his possible son. That's Jayuk as an adult. He is actually changes his. He's called Regis Nix at that point. Um, and he's feared by all pretty much. So you may be wondering, who's the main character if Regis Nix slash Jayuk isn't the main character? Well, it's this guy right there. He's named Zik. Yeah. He hates Regis Nix for reasons you find out later on, and he also claims to be his son. And when Regis Nix doubts that he's his son, and he says something that's really shows you how um, kind of twisted he's become. Um, he isn't the nice guy anymore. He says, claiming to be my son and even running away, I can tolerate them. However, rebelling against me, I will not forgive. Go ahead and vanish along with all those you care about. He pretty much is like, yeah, you aren't my son, and you can go die, along with everyone you've ever loved. And that's honestly how he feels. He even banishes his eldest son, Ninoru, over here, just because he also over here, yeah, because he despises he thinks that he isn't his son. And you may be wondering, what genres are these? This series. Um, it's mainly, I don't know. It starts as like almost like an action series, an action slice of life almost, but then it quickly turns into like almost a romance, but then it kind of turns into like a mystery action adventure because you don't really know what's happening and you just get really confused, and there's so much going on, and there's even like a 20 chapter flashback to 2 years after the original series, and you still don't understand why all this is happening. um but yeah, I just think it's really underrated, and it's like impossible to find. It's so hard because it's made in Korea, and like nothing from Korea ever gets out. It's really a shame. But yeah, it's just one of those underrated gems that you never hear anyone talk about.